Thus far, we've discussed how Jehovah is a God of peace who gives peace, and we've talked about what kind of peace he gives. But now we ask, to whom does Jehovah give peace? The simple answer is, Jehovah gives peace to those who draw close to him and want to follow his guidance. So, receiving peace from Jehovah starts with living a clean life following Jehovah's righteous moral standards. Many people in Satan's world, as you know, believe that God will accept them as they are, that God, in effect, will lower his standard to accommodate them. Can you imagine such pride? That would be like a pot telling its maker, the potter, how the pot must be used, and the potter must accept this whether he likes it or not. Well, we know it doesn't work that way, does it? We have to come up to Jehovah's righteous standards. Now, he'll help us, but we do the changing, certainly not Jehovah.
We've barely begun this convention. We're still on the Friday morning. This is the first talk, the chairman's address. Stephen Lett, governing body member, right out of the blocks, is making the black and white ideology of Jehovah's Witnesses conspicuous. He is making it clear that if you want the peace of God, which you will need to combat depression, if you just pray, you'll receive this magical peace of God that defies logic. It's not just about praying, though. You need to be a Jehovah's Witness. You need to live up to Jehovah's righteous moral standards. In other words, be a Jehovah's Witness. And am I the only one who experienced a bit of déjà vu in those final few words that we saw?
We have to come up to Jehovah's righteous standards. Now, he'll help us, but we do the changing, certainly not Jehovah.
With those words still fresh in your mind, let's revisit what Stephen Lett famously said in the 2020 convention.
Now, this former homosexual comes back in the resurrection, and he really thought, and he was taught, and he came to believe that God accepted him with that lifestyle. But now he's going to learn about Jehovah's moral standards. And he's going to learn that Jehovah will not lower his standard to accommodate us. We have to come up to Jehovah's standard.
Stephen Lett cannot resist putting the boot in once more when it comes to his bigoted views. In my opinion, even though he doesn't mention gay people, that's what he's talking about here. And interestingly, many of you will know that I interviewed Stephen Lett's niece, Brandy Schmiedel, thumbnail here if Tibor is gracious. It turned out, when speaking to Brandy, that there was a backstory to Stephen Lett's bigoted comments about gay people at the 2020 convention, which caused so much anguish for those who are already struggling within the Jehovah's Witness community as gay people who are having to repress their sexuality. Turned out when Stephen Lett was making those comments, it wasn't long after he had lost his nephew to suicide. His own nephew, who was gay, committed suicide due to the way he was treated by this religion. And Stephen Lett's response was to deliver the vitriol that you just saw. And in my mind, again, he doesn't need to spell out that he's talking about homosexuals. I think that what we just saw at this latest 2022 Pursue Peace convention, again, right out of the blocks, right at the beginning, in the very first talk, in his very first few comments, for whatever reason, this is a man who cannot resist making things more difficult, using his platform, using any opportunity to further estrange and further isolate those who aren't like him, those who love differently. And as we're going to see as this convention goes on, in fact, within just the Friday morning of this convention, it's apparent that the organization is once more pursuing its crusade against gay people. I'm afraid there will be more homophobic material to come as the Friday morning talks progress.